after this workshop. But we are live now. Again, welcome. This is actually the last class of the Real Magic of NLP with our amazing teacher, Paul Webb here. So I'll go ahead and give him the floor now, but thank you for all for attending today.
Thank you, Crystal. Anthony, Patrick, Kathleen, welcome. And Kathleen and Patrick, you'll be able to get the first, second, 1 through 5 on the recording. You'll notice on the handout, Kathleen, did you get the handout for today's program?
Yes, I do.
Perfect. So on the screen, there's a split screen. The left-hand side is the handout and the right-hand side is the PowerPoint. We'll be going over both. Today's program will be on personality traits with a review of the complete first 5 sessions. And so Anthony has been through this and he's been practicing these techniques. So it may seem a little overwhelming, Patrick, in the beginning because it's a review on some of these materials being class 6 of 6. So stay with me, it moves quickly. The safety net is that you have a video series that you can refer to, go back and watch at your convenience, at a convenient time for you, and then watch and rewatch as needed. And the material is designed for sales. It's a sales training program. And the big picture, we're gonna go over a little bit of a review in the beginning here, and then the new material is personality traits. And so that kind of gives you the big picture of today's program. So if you look at your handout on page 2, it says, welcome to today's program. Up here on the screen, it says, a mind stretched by a new idea never returns to its original dimension. Kathleen, I didn't know you were a photographer. That's new information. I didn't know that. And at any time, there's a chat feature. If any of you would like to interrupt me or ask a question, it's such a small group. We really don't even have to do, you can just keep yourself on, as long as there's no background music or background noise, you can keep yourself on the microphone. You don't have to have yourself on mute unless you want to. And so if you have a question and want to stop me or have any questions to ask, Anthony may have a question that Patrick's also thinking of. So it's sometimes good to have that little bit of interaction. Same thing, Crystal, if you have something to ask about the previous classes, it might be a great way for us to reinforce the learning for Kathleen and for Patrick. So we always start off the program with a little bit of a review. Kathleen, I'm gonna ask you a question. Have you ever, or actually Patrick, the two of you, because Anthony's seen this, have you ever noticed a child getting the B or the D backwards?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. A way to fix that is you get a big piece of paper and you put it on the wall. And you pre-print the letter B, have the child stand at eye level, print it with their, trace it with their finger and say B. And at the same time, you trace it on their back and that will fix it inside their head. Patrick, did you know that?
I was not aware of that, no.
Yeah, and that comes from a program called Accelerated Learning. And it's on page 378. It's called how backwriting solves problems.
Huh, neat.
And Kathleen, were you familiar with that?
No, it's a little late now, but.
This book is called The Learning Revolution, and it's 540 pages. Yeah, 540 pages. You can read the whole book in 30 minutes.
Oh my.
If you just read the left-hand side, if you want more information, you can read the right-hand side. But the book is brilliantly set up so that everything in review is just on the, if you read just the left-hand side, you read the whole book in 30 minutes. This is called accelerated learning. And this is from Dr. Jeanette Voss. She's my business partner. She taught me how to teach you. So I don't have a doctorate, she does. And she and I, we have 2 offices in China, in Shenzhen and Shanghai, and we do work with the Chinese Communist government on their school system on accelerated learning. And it's amazing how much you can learn in such a short amount of time. The brain has an amazing feature to be able to take in information and retain it. And I didn't know your name was Kathleen, so my mind's been stretched. The thing about that information, the B and the D, Patrick, is once your mind's been stretched, you can never take it. You can never take that information out. Now, I may put information on top of me knowing your name, Patrick, but you can't take it out. And once a mind has been stretched by a new idea, it will never return to its original dimension. And so interweaved in a sales training program is what's called accelerated learning. It's another program inside it. And so I have been trained to accelerate the students' learning process. And it's most relevant and obvious when you teach sports. I teach skiing and snowboarding and golf and surfing, and I teach a lot of different sports as well. I was a professional athlete, still am. I still get paid to do sports. And so last night I did a 32-mile mountain bike ride. And so every day, today I've got a 22-mile mountain bike. I ride every day, I run every day. And so when you teach sports, that's when you can really see the change. Anthony, I can't really see the change in you over these last 5-6 series. I know you've sent me some emails saying that you've sent videos, and as a result, you got a commercial contract as a result of it. But it's hard for me to see when I teach through this format or any format with a classroom to see if you're really getting it or not. And that's what we're looking for, Kathleen, is an extra sale, selling your photography services. Patrick, a big contract for your promotional products and services that you do in your print services. And so that's what we're looking for. We're looking for a result. We're looking for you applying this stuff. So Anthony's already had, Crystal has already had a chance to practice some of these things. And so it's the practicing that we're going to be emphasizing over the next 90 minutes and then beyond. But we have a safety net. It's the videos and also the book. So today's material, Kathleen, have you heard about my book, the #1 best-selling book?
No.
Yeah, that's the title, the #1 best-selling book.
That's great.
No one's ever had that title. I had to fight Amazon to put it on. They wouldn't put it on. I said, why not? I said, well, every time somebody searches the #1 best-selling book, your book comes up. So of course it comes up. That's why I call it the #1 best-selling book. You can't change the title of my book. And so it's on Amazon now, but you're going to get a free copy. And today is going to be chapter 4. That's the new material. So Anthony, have you already printed out, or do you have an electronic copy of the book?
No, actually I don't.
Crystal, I'm going to make sure I get that to you. We get it to everybody today. So we'll get the book to everybody. So a mind stretched by a new idea never returns to its original dimension. Now we talk about everybody smiling. Everybody go ahead and smile. Crystal, I can see you. You're the only one that's right now smiling. I can see your smile. Okay, so what happens when you smile? It releases endorphins and serotonin, and it makes what we call brain juice, a good liquid inside our brain. So please write in the word juice, brain juice. So you see the format here. So Kathleen, if you have your pen, start writing in your handout. If you're typing, that's okay. Patrick, you can type, but you want to be able to be actively engaged with, that's what creates retention for me teaching you through a Zoom meeting. So there's 3 things: the visual, the auditory, and the kinesthetic. I'll have you repeat things and talk back with me at times. This is what transfers learning through a visual component and through sound and through activity, which is the writing. So brain juice, when you smile, something happens. It makes you in a better mood. And it's always easier to sell your product and service when you use humor. And so if you can get people to laugh, we go there first. So I always talk about, if I'm going to sell a product or service, I have to love it. If I don't love it, don't sell it. Go sell something else. So you have to go there first to have the excitement, the passion, the belief, all the things about your product. So otherwise, go find something that you love. And so we talk about that with the 7 keys. Now, paths in the dirt. Do you remember what that was, Anthony? That was what? Everything you've ever seen, tasted, and smelled in your lifetime. Kathleen, every picture you've taken, every license plate you looked at in the car in front of you at a red light 9 years ago is still inside your brain. Your brain will, you just don't have paths to that information. Now, your name is Kathleen. That's your name. So what that is a tree inside your head with a branch and a leaf, and that's your name. Hey, little girl, what's your name? My name's Kathleen. What's your name? My name's Kathleen. You've gone back so often to that tree, you've created a path in the dirt. And that's what makes memory. And that's why we always review the material from the previous class. It's this constant going back and forth to a bit of information inside your head creates paths in the dirt. And so would you please, on page 2, please highlight the word dirt. You'll notice I'll take times, I'll go here and do highlights, and I'll put yellow on that. So highlight that in yellow if you have a highlighter, or just circle it. That's what makes memory. So when this class is over at 11:30, one of the best things to do would be what? Anthony, go ahead and download the book, the PDF, and then read chapter 4, because that's going to be new material today. That's the personality traits. And so you want to read that. I'm going to go over it today and give you an introduction to it. But to learn it, you go back over it again and again and again. It's just like walking through the forest, Patrick, in the same path. If you walk over the same path, what are you going to make? Path in the forest. A path. And that's what makes memory. It's by going back over something. And so that's what we call path in the dirt. So up here on the page, and same thing with you, Crystal. Crystal, we taught you to do what? Let's ... Okay? Remember that as a closing technique? I can see she's smiling.
Yes,
So
I remember.
So let's go ahead and start the paperwork for your new membership for the Brea Chamber of Commerce. Okay? So I taught her a closing technique. And so if she's been practicing that, same thing with you, Kathleen. You know, that would be a great thing. Let's go ahead and do a sample series of photos at a convenient site, and then decide if you want to use me for your wedding. Okay, let's ... Okay, so you suggested a sample, and that's a closing technique. And so I taught that to Crystal. Now, if we went over that again and again and again, what would Crystal start to have? Paths in the dirt. Then that's what makes memory. Great, nice. Thank you for bringing up your photo, Kathleen. So page 3. On page 3, would you please write in on page 3, the approach always changes. Write that in. The technique never changes. So the approach is personalities. We're going to go over personalities today. So we don't sell everybody the same way. We have to make adjustments. Some people talk slowly. Some people talk very fast. So their tempo is different. Some people are what we call a high drive control personality. Some people a little bit more analytical, facts and details. Some people are big picture, what we call global. And some people are very specific with lots of detail. And we're going to take these examples of personality traits and discuss what the difference is. But the technique never changes. And we're going to go over that in a couple minutes. Now, if you look at strategy, it says up on the screen, review. I'm doing review now. This first portion is review. And then personality traits. That's the new thing for today. So that's today's class. Next page. Page 4. Self-learning is the only form of learning. Patrick, I can't make you use today's material. 100% your choice. There's an old saying, Kathleen, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. What's the third thing? Give it salt. So this is 90 minutes of salt. I want you to finish this Zoom meeting today going, man, I gotta use this stuff. I gotta text somebody. I gotta send them a video. I gotta make a phone call. I gotta get a face-to-face. or a mask-to-mask. I gotta go see somebody right away. I gotta practice this stuff. And that's how you should come. I can't make you. Your spouse can't. Your business partner can't. It's a 100%. Self-learning is the only form of learning. You have to want to learn. And I commend you for being here today and for making the effort to get here. Now that you're here, make sure that you can get all your focus onto the material to absorb as quickly as possible this rapid learning process of getting new information into your brain. And then what? Applying it. That makes the paths in the dirt. So we're going to insert new things onto the trees, onto the leaf. And then if you keep on going back to that tree, then you create what? Memory. It's called an engram. okay, inside as far as your memory process. And so self-learning is the only form of learning. So on that same page, it says, sell people the way they like to be sold, not the way you like to be sold. And we're actors and actresses. We change, Crystal, for the person that's walked into the Chamber of Commerce office, or the person that's on the phone, or the text person. We are constantly changing and adjusting to the person that we're interacting with. We can't sell, just treat people the way you like to be treated. No, you can't do that. If I'm highly visual based and somebody's a chit chatter talker, talking people, I don't get it. I don't process by sound, I process by sight. So I can't treat everybody the way I want to be treated. So that doesn't work anymore. I have to identify how that person learns and then switch my presentation to match up with how they learn. So Patrick and Kathleen, both Crystal and Anthony have heard me say this before. You don't sell products or services. You teach people how to buy them. Kathleen, I'll say that again. You don't sell photography services. You teach people how to buy them. And so the first review process here today is to identify how people learn. So on page 5, on the 7 keys, let's go right into the review. Would you please, on that page where it says visual, please write in see, look, show. Good, Crystal, you're already ahead of me. Auditory, said, tell, explain. Kinesthetic, feel, follow, action. They're up there on the board, okay? Now there's a reason why, even though I was saying them, Kathleen, you had to look, because you don't pick up things by sound, you have to see it. Interesting enough, you're in the photography business. Good match. It's how your brain's wired. Patrick, I don't have a picture of you, but maybe I do. It might just not be on the screen here. Nope, no picture of Patrick. Patrick, if you do have a picture and you want to put it up, you don't have to. I just, sometimes it's kind of gives me a little better.
Unfortunately, I don't have one accessible at the moment.
That's good. You're good. Fine. But you can chit chat with us as well. Are you getting everything, Patrick?
Oh yeah, I'm getting everything.
Perfect. So what we have on the top part of this page is all of class 1, 90 minutes of training in those 3 lines. It's called VAK, and that is the visual, auditory, kinesthetic. So Crystal, we have class 1 available as a video archived learning process for our attendees, correct?
I will have to search for class 1 and 2.
Okay, thank you. We'll make those available for you. If not, Crystal, if you don't, let me know and I'll make sure I get you some form of video follow-up on that.
Okay.
Okay, so we have that for your members. All right, so here's a quick story. Anthony, the visual, auditory, kinesthetic. How did you apply that and make a sale with a commercial loan?
Well, let's see. All right, you see me there now? So with the COVID, you know, everything is done through the internet and over the phone. So I was able to apply it, you know, first with an email, get the conversation going, and then over the phone, and then also I was able to do a presentation, a PowerPoint presentation over Zoom, and it kind of combined all 3 in my sales approach. I was able to kind of just break everything down visually and speak with them. So the auditory, and then just kind of getting the conversation going for the kinesthetic portion as well.
And you use a PowerPoint presentation, and that helped close the deal.
Yeah, because even like just the first initial email wasn't enough, and then over the phone it wasn't enough. But you know, when you break it down over the PowerPoint, it kind of just got right to the point. So it definitely helped out.
Excellent. So that is an application of using the visual, auditory, kinesthetic learning styles making sure that we identify that text and email, if you want to write that down on that line, text and email are visual, auditory is phone, and kinesthetic is a combination where you have to do both. So Kathleen, if you can make a mini video. Hello, Mr. Franklin. Thank you so much for inquiring about our services. I know you and your wife were interested in your daughter's wedding photos being taken in an outdoor venue. I just want to show you a couple quick pictures of the, follow me, Kathleen. If you send a video, total engagement, and they're shopping what, 4 photographers. You do weddings?
Yes, I don't advertise for them. I'm actually starting to build a new branch, but yeah. So yes, I do weddings.
Well, whatever it is that you do, whatever the product service is, it could be a commercial, it could be Patrick doing a marketing piece with 5 different mailers that go out on a drip campaign. It could be a new logo that you designed, whatever it is. When you send that logo for them to review, Patrick, send along a video, a personal video of you. You can do an SMS video. You can do one right on your phone. Hey, Mr. Franklin, thank you so much for inquiring about our print services. I'm sending you that as an attachment. I just want you to know that my name is Patrick. And kind of wave on the phone. I tell you, it is amazing. And why do I teach that? Because of the visual, auditory, kinesthetic. And because of the COVID and not being able to be quite so personal with people, we have to ramp up what? The visual side. So this is a review. We're going to move on now to the next material. But that's 90 minutes of material just on that page, just on that one slide. So make sure you get a chance to look at how people learn is how people buy. Next, phones. When you answer the phone, I'm happy to help you. So if you would please go back up to page 4. And on page 4, would you please write in, I'm happy to help you. On that greeting, right where it says greet, page 4. I'm happy to help you. New way to answer the phone. I'm happy to help you. Are you guys doing it, Crystal? Yes, perfect. So when you call into the Chamber of Commerce, I'm happy to help you. Instead of saying, how can I help you? It's a new way to answer the phone and people absolutely love it. Next, so it's a review. Next, so there's the I'm happy to help you right there. Questioning skills. Oh, excuse me, on outbound calls. I think we did outbound. Yes, here, oh, there it is on page, please highlight, page 5. This is all review. So on page 5, on the review, it says outbound calls. Company name first. So, Patrick, what's the name of your company?
It's Newport Printing Solutions.
This is Newport Printing Solutions calling, and my name is Patrick. Everybody get it? Instead of saying this is Patrick calling from Newport Printing Solutions. I'm sorry, Newport
Printing Solutions.
Excellent, great name. Instead of saying this is Patrick calling from Newport Printing Solutions, you want to say this is Newport Printing Solutions calling, and my name is Patrick. Kathleen, what's the name of your company?
Kathleen McGrath Photography.
And my name is Kathleen. That's a double. Actually, you know what? It makes it look like you're even a bigger company. This is Kathleen McGrath Photography calling, and my name is Kathleen. I'm calling for Mr. Phillips. Is he available, please? Do you get it? You always say the name. The company is bigger than you. If your company is your brand, is your name, I say, this is Paul Webb Training calling, and my name is Paul Webb. Is Mr. Fisher there? And they go, wow, I got the owner of the company.
Right.
Got it? If you say, well, this is American First Credit Union calling, and my name is Anthony. This is Brea Chamber of Commerce calling, and my name is Crystal. You always say on outbound calls, you always say the name of the company first. Everybody get it? Thumbs up? You got everybody thumbs up on the pic? Perfect. Good. All right. And that's on outbound calls. So there it is up there on the board. It says outbound calls. Company name first. Next, always start with please write the answer in there, broad questions. Again, this is a review. Crystal, when you have someone who's showing an interest in the Chamber of Commerce, you don't ask them, is this for just yourself or for your whole company? See, that's an alternate choice. You would ask them, what do you feel is important in a chamber membership? And that's what? That's a broad question. You want people to talk freely at first. What do you feel is important in a photography layout? What do you feel is important in branding your new company? Get it, Patrick? So you always ask a broad question requires a lengthy answer. You always, what do you feel is important in a commercial loan? Get it, Anthony? So you always want to use what do you feel is important, and then that's a broad question. You want people to talk freely at first. So what do you feel is important in a chamber membership? Well, I want to make sure that I have, social interaction with people. I want to have better networking opportunities. I want to know what's going on with the community politics. I know if new roads are going to be put in. I want to know about all the political issues that are before they impact me and me not knowing about it and getting blindsided. That's why I want to have the advocacy of being, informed by the chamber. And if you write those things down, Crystal, then I would what? So if I understand what you're saying, you want that, you repeat the list. If I can do that for you, and then you present each item. Is this what you had in mind? And then you ask them what? As you can see, we've met all your requirements. You've got, an outdoor layout. You've got the 25 different photo. You've got lighting for both day and nighttime. You've got to have, you'll have 3 movies. I said, obviously you found your new photographer, and you would list then all the things. And what is that? Remember that, Anthony? That's sequencing. Now, I can't go back and refresh 5 Zoom meetings in its entirety in today's class. So this is all what? Very, very fast. But I'm enticing you to know these are things that you're going to find in the previous videos. Anthony's been through this. What did I just do, Anthony and Crystal? That was sequencing. We spent a whole 90-minute series on sequencing, which is a closing technique. All right, so again, I don't want to overload you, but I also want to make sure that Crystal and Anthony are getting what? Oh yeah, I got to get back and study that sequencing because that helps me close more membership, more commercial loans. And then I'm enticing Kathleen and Patrick to know that's where those things are. That was session 4 of the 6. That was sequencing. All right. And then we get into what? Questioning skills. Teach tie down. Please write on that, please, right there. Teach, step 2, tie down. And that's what this is up on the screen here. So I'm going to give you a feature. This is sales training. So everybody see this pen? It says feature, what it is. Up there on the screen, it says what it is. Okay, this is a pen. It has a clip. That's the feature, is the clip. What this means to you is, if it's in your pocket and you bend over, it won't fall out. So that's what the clip does. Everybody see the benefit up on the screen? Now, what's the benefit of saving you money in the long run on office supplies? Everybody get it? That's the benefit. Then you say what? That's great, isn't it? Now, when they say yes, Crystal, what happens? Their desire goes up. Look what it says on a PowerPoint slide here. Every time a customer says yes, their desire goes up. They get the chance to be right. So again, this is for Anthony and Crystal as a review, and we're making paths in the dirt. That's why we review the material. We're going to start segueing into the end of the review and getting into new material. So this is all part of the review. The most common human need is to be what? Right. Please write that in on the bottom part of page 5. So Patrick, the most common human need is to be right. It's not social acceptance. It's not love. It's not community. No. The most common human need is to be right. And if you don't agree with me, and Kathleen, you think it's something else, that means you want to be right, which means I just proved my point. Get it? So the most common human need, you want to be right, and you will do whatever you can to make yourself right. Politically, socially, economically, you will make yourself right. And so what we want to do is we want to be able to allow the customers to be right. And every time they say yes, their desire goes up. Now, it's important to save money on office supplies, isn't it? Who's going to say, no, I don't want to save money on office supplies? You know what, Anthony? You know they're going to say what? Come on, what are they going to say? They're going to say yes. And to have a commercial loan done in a timely manner is important, correct? And the person goes, yes, I want this done in a timely manner, or within 2 days, or whatever it is. So you get little yeses to the big yes, to them saying, I want to use you as a commercial loan. I want to use you as a photographer. I want to use you for my printing needs. I want to get a membership for the Chamber of Commerce. I want to get it right now. So you made me say yes to the big yes. And that's what sales training does. It teaches you to do that with what? Creative questions. And the creative question is this slide: feature, benefit, tie down. Feature, benefit, tie down. We spent 15 minutes in our previous classes on just this topic. Every time a customer says yes, their desire goes up, they get the chance to be right. And the most common human need is to be what? Right. Crystal, being a chamber member provides great training. It's important to stay current on the best selling skills, right? Everybody look at, I don't know if you can see Anthony, look at Anthony. Did you see that? I just got him doing this. Okay, it's called the bobbly head. You did it, didn't you, Anthony? Yeah, I saw it. Yeah, there it is. There it is. There's his head's going again. So that's what we want to get. Kathleen, you're working with what? You're working with a high maintenance mother and daughter for a wedding, driving you crazy. I have facilitated as a meeting planner 42 weddings. My first senior management position at Squaw Valley Ski Corporation up in Lake Tahoe was the director of food and beverage. And in the summertime, I did all the banquets, people having weddings at the top of the tram in the summertime. I conducted, in my first 2 years at Squaw Valley Ski, 42 weddings. I know what it's like to work with high maintenance mothers and daughters, changing things at the last minute. And then try to figure out how to get everybody to the top of the tram. And then what happens? The day of the wedding, it rains. I know, it drives you crazy. And so same thing with advertising. Patrick, they're going to change. I don't like this font. Can you change the orange color? Is a little too bright. What about commercial loans? I want, you know what? Hey, Anthony, you know, I like you, but your rate's too high. You know, I don't want to pay these fees. And so they start chipping away. And next thing you know, you're trying to work with what making no margins. You have no profit. I mean, you've got to make sure that you build value to hold that profit in what you do. And so all of this becomes communications and sales. Effective listening. Write them down. Here we go. Write them down. Page 6. 5 ways to show them effective listening. Repeat. Write it down. Rephrase. Head nod, eye contact. Ask for clarification. So we're just about to start to segue into our new material. You have all of this today is on recording. Next, reinforcing. So every time, Crystal, somebody walks into your place of business, if they come into the chamber, I want you to pull out a pad. As soon as they start talking, you start writing. Got it? Even if you've already heard it 30 times. You know what but you need to, it shows them that you're paying attention. It shows them that same thing with anything that you do, Patrick, you have to start writing. So it's one of the ways to show, I call it dominate the listening. We stop talking and we dominate the listening and we start taking notes. I have to write things down. I'm highly visual. I can't remember a thing you tell me. All right. When somebody responds, I ask them a broad question. I ask them, what do you feel is important in a wedding? And they say, well, I want to make sure that, you know, the lighting captures the vineyard we want to have landscape pictures in the background which show the beauty of the area at sunset. And so what I write down then is, oh, sunset landscape pictures. Good. So then I say, oh, that will make some beautiful shots. And so what I just did is I reinforced them. You're smart in making sure that we capture these things at that sunset time. Let me write that down, sunset images. So what I just did, Kathleen, is what? I agreed and introduced a benefit. They said, I want to have sunset pictures. I want to have a logo on my print so that if I change the logo, Patrick, 2 months from now, it's easy to insert the new logo. I don't have to change the whole format. And you go, oh, that's good, because an interchangeable logo will actually save you money on any redos that you do. Let me write that down, interchangeable logo. Did you get that, Patrick? And
Yep,
what I'm
got
doing,
it.
what I just did is I agreed and introduced a benefit. And in that moment, the customer goes, I knew I was right getting an interchangeable logo. Stroke. That's a psychological what? That's a psychological yes to them. And they get to be right. Remember the most common human. So every time you ask a question to somebody and they respond, what do you feel is important in a chamber? I want to have, I want to have good networking. And Crystal, you write down networking. Well, that's wonderful. That will help you build your revenues quicker. Let me write that down. Networking. What did I just do? Agreed benefit. Agreed benefit. Everybody get that? Let me see thumbs up on film. Every time you ask a question to somebody and they respond, you're going to do this. Look at the screen. It says reinforcing and complimenting. It creates a stronger foundation of bond. There are 2 steps to reinforcing. Agree, benefit. Agree, benefit. It's on page 6. I've got it highlighted in yellow. So every time you ask a person a question from now on, everybody, let's see it on the screen here. How many of you watching today, the 4 of you, asked customers questions this past week? How many of you? We all did. How many of you, when they responded, you went, oh, great choice because ... and then you gave them the benefit? Did you do it? Yes or no?
No.
If you didn't, you're missing a key ingredient to sales. You're missing the ability to make that person what? Right. The most common human need is to be right. All of you are smart for coming onto a training program today. As a result, you're going to be ahead of your competitors. Now, it's important for you to be ahead of your competitors, isn't it? What did I just do? I just stroked all of you, telling you how smart you are by telling you what? By coming on. Everybody get that? And in that moment, you're right. And people love to be right. How many of your competitors are taking the 90 minutes out today to go to a Zoom meeting to talk to listen to a professional sales trainer to help them be better in sales? Not a lot of them are doing it, but you are. And as a result, you're going to be ahead of your competition. It's important to be ahead of your competition in today's competitive market, isn't it? There's the bobbly head. Okay. So I'm selling you. I'm a sales trainer. How can I teach you to sell other people if I can't sell you? All right. Sequencing. This is a big part right here. Sequencing eliminates people saying, I want to think about it. So that's a whole 90-minute class that we did. Class 4 was just on sequencing. So that's a great one to make sure that, Crystal, we have that one archived. We make that, we may want to tag it as sequencing. Number 4 was sequencing. So I gave you the outline of all the things we did at each one of the sessions. And so I think it actually spilled over from 4 to 5. All right, but there's, if you look at that, that's the area right there. Skepticism. So I can't go into the detail today on how to handle every objection, but I can teach you to write these things down. Please, on page 7. I'm sold. Letter B, offer proof. Letter C, that's why I'm sold. Remember that, Anthony? Yes? Okay, so when somebody says, I doubt you, I doubt that you can catch that sunset. I doubt that you can do the advertising within this particular budget. I doubt that the Chamber of Commerce is going to be worth me writing a check every year for me to be a member. I doubt you. So now you have to what? Offer proof. All right, you have to have a proof source. So that's skepticism. Indifference is no need. Please write down. Teach. Tie down. So Kathleen, you can see there's quite a bit of information we went over in the first 5 series. Okay, there's a lot of material here. And again, I'm giving you kind of a quick overview of all of this material. And so handling objections, feel, felt, found. And so that's another formula that we taught everybody. I understand how you feel. Other people have felt that same way. Until they found that, we have about 30 minutes of good daylight, of good evening lighting and natural lighting without having to use the artificial light. And as a result, in that 30-minute time, I'm able to capture all the pictures you need for that size family to have a shot with individuals and groups to capture your most special moment for your wedding. Now, it's important for you to get everybody in natural lighting, right? So it's a yes to what? Them buying you. All right, good. So you can see how I'm using examples here for chamber membership, for photography, for advertising, for print, for commercial loans. I can change this for anything, for selling plumbing, for selling houses, for selling automobiles, for selling airplanes, for selling boats. You can change this for absolutely any product. All right, closing techniques. All we're going to do today, we're not going to go into any detail on this. We're going to go into just the one simple one, which is let's ... okay. So let's go ahead and meet at the property on Thursday. Okay, Kathleen? Crystal, let's go ahead and start the paperwork for your membership. Okay? Anthony, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and set an appointment for a Zoom meeting this afternoon at 3 o'clock. Okay, so you can use this for setting appointments. Okay, Patrick, let's go ahead and do a mock-up of the logo with the orange color. Okay, got it, Patrick?
Yep, that's actually one I do use.
It's one of the simplest. You know what? It's so simple. It's so common. People, let's go to the movies tonight, okay? Well, let's go out to dinner tonight. I didn't ask you, do you want to go to the movies? I made the decision for you. Then I asked you to what? To agree with it. That's a closing technique. And now that you know there's a science to it, Patrick, you can do more of it. Let's go ahead and segue into some new material, okay? So here we go. So up here on the board, closing techniques. We went over closing, how to trial close, and now we're going to get into this new information. Page 11. How to identify the way people think and make decisions. Personality traits, easy to learn for 2 categories. Has any one of you 4 people ever been to a personality training program? Yes, no, anybody? So Patrick?
Nope.
No, Kathleen, no, Crystal?
No.
Okay, there are about 7 really strong, foundational, popular training programs. Some of you may have heard of Myers-Briggs. Okay, that's a training program for personalities. Some of you may have heard of DISC, D-I-C-S, DISC training. DESA. Let's see. I'm going to take, I used to teach one called DISC. DEX, D-E-C-S. I'm going to just name this off quickly. Dominant driving, ego expressive, complacent amiable, stable analytical. 8 personality traits. And it's about a 4-hour class. And it's from a 1932 Harvard business study of personalities in business. And I have been teaching it, Kathleen, for 31 years. And I have a partner who made it simpler for me. So in the book, the #1 best-selling book, my ghost author is Cynthia Tobias, Dr. Cynthia Tobias. And she came up with a very simple process that she got from another trainer. And we took all the personality traits and we made it into 2, analytical and global. And it's the simplest, easiest thing, 2 personality traits. Now, I'm going to give you how powerful this is and what happened with Mercedes-Benz. Now, Kathleen, I don't know if you know this, but if you're a Mercedes-Benz, or Patrick, if you're a Mercedes-Benz salesperson, you have to go online and take your online factory training. That's 358 dealerships in the United States. And you have to do your certification training online at Mercedes-Benz-USA.com. As an employee, you're going to get a special code and you take your factory training. Well, guess what? I'm the guy in the videos. So I'm in every Mercedes-Benz, every BMW store, it's a different contract, every Audi dealership, I do luxury automobile dealership training. And I'm the guy on the videos. So I get to go to Stuttgart, Germany, and I spend a lot of time with Mercedes-Benz education department, global. So they design, and I help them design the leadership and management courseware for the whole planet with all of these people on developing curriculum. And I noticed that when I switched over my personality traits, I noticed that Mercedes-Benz was already doing it. And if you look up here on the screen, it shows in the middle, you have ambition to lead. This is their branding. And then in the next ring, you have responsibility, fascination, and perfection. And then on the outside ring on fascination, you have sportiness, style, and design. On perfection, you have safety, quality, and comfort. And on responsibility, you have innovation, sustainability, and customer care. And when I looked at this, guess what I found out? It falls into the same categories that I'm going to be teaching you. So if you look at analytical, which is the yellow, you notice where it says perfection is the second one down? Well, when you look at analytical, it's refined, distinctive, and trend setting. That's analyzing. And so all the yellow is, and guess what you have? You have an equal balance. So Mercedes-Benz is equally balanced in their marketing to appeal to who? Everyone. Everybody get that? Volvo is appealing more to the analytical for its safety emphasis. But Mercedes-Benz has an equal emphasis on both analytical and global. And so if you're doing, Patrick, any type of advertising campaign, you want to always keep in mind that you have to have an equal balance of these 2 personality traits to what? To appeal to everyone. And that's what I'm going to teach you today, is to identify how to appeal to everyone in 2 categories, not 8. So again, there's that ambition to lead. Mercedes-Benz is already doing it. How to identify the way people think and make decisions. Now, Sarah is the salesperson and Barbara is the customer. So Sarah, on page 11, was looking forward to her first appointment. She was confident that she was going to sell a home that day. She's a real estate agent. Her prospective buyer had asked about one of her favorite things, her favorite listings, excuse me. And Sarah had a fresh supply of the newest brochures and video screen with interactive choices of similar properties to show the client. She had her brag book which included photos and letters of satisfied customers set out on the table to view. View, that's what? Visual. That should take care of her as a visual customer, she thought. Second paragraph, I'm reading page 11. She was prepared to meet auditory needs as well. She'd spent an hour the previous night studying the available listings and quizzing herself on the details of the homes so she could explain. So, Crystal, what's explain? Auditory. She could explain them and answer any questions. I'm in the second paragraph, right here. In the event her customer was kinesthetic, she'd come in an hour early that morning to make sure that she knew the best route of each of the homes. She'd made mental notes about the school districts, shopping centers, public transportation, and anything else she could think of to be appealing, which is what? Kinesthetic. Today, she was definitely going to sell a house. The intercom buzzed. Sarah, Barbara Gray, your 10 o'clock is here. Already? Barbara was 15 minutes early. Sarah stepped into the outer office at the real estate office and shook hands with the customer. Barbara Gray is obviously a no-nonsense person, Sarah thought. Definitely, she seemed to be a visual learner. She was dressed impeccably in a business suit with just a touch of elegant jewelry. She had a perfect styled haircut. Sarah had barely finished shaking her customer's hand when Barbara pulled out a folder from her neatly sorted papers out of her thin leather briefcase. I saw this listing on the internet, Barbara said. So I decided to do some research and find out more about it. Everything I saw indicated that this is the house I want. Great. Sarah smiled and thought, visual. And I already know she's serious about buying a house. She began her presentation. Let me show you. Barbara quickly interrupted her. I printed out the flyer, and at the bottom, I put the price I'm willing to pay. Sarah was momentarily taken back and then decided she would continue to match Barbara's visual approach. Barbara, let me show you some comparable properties. Barbara interrupted again. I don't need to see anything else. I want you to show me that house. Sarah hesitated. Actually, there's an offer pending on that house, and we're not sure if it's going to go through. You might want to take a look at a couple of other houses. You might like one of these even better. Barbara looked puzzled. Why? I already know I want this house. Sarah suddenly felt a little less confident about selling Barbara a house today. Barbara was looking at the printout she had brought and was frowning. What are my chances of getting this house? She asked Sarah. Sarah took the printout and glanced at it. Good. These other listings I gave her have most of these same features. All I have to do is convince her to look at something else. She smiled. Okay, she said to herself, just think about how visual Barbara is and deal with it. Barbara, if you'll have a seat here, we'll look through these other listings and I'll show you how similar the features look. Barbara frowned. In other words, you can't get this house for me? Sarah tried to stay pleasant. Well, I'm not sure. I'll need to call the listing agent and see where we stand. Barbara stood up abruptly. Never mind. It's obvious you can't get what I want. She spun around and walked out, leaving Sarah standing there. How rude, Sarah thought. There was no way to please her. Actually, there was. Although Sarah was accurate in her assessment that Barbara was a visual learner, and she correctly adjusted her communication to match that style, she overlooked a critical aspect of knowing what would motivate her customer to make an offer on a house that day. She didn't realize that Barbara Gray had a black and white, detailed, analytical mind. Sarah was operating on a big picture, global learner. What was missing? In the first seminar, earlier seminars, you learned to recognize the ways your customers need to receive the information you're giving them in order to tune in and understand what you're saying. The visual, auditory, and kinesthetic strengths in individuals can pinpoint how they best take in information. But it's equally important for you to understand how your customers' minds are organized and how they make decisions about the information. This is not just a glimpse into personality differences. It's a way to understand how each person's mind is wired as it processes and makes sense of incoming information. Even if you're an expert in VAK, visual, auditory, and kinesthetic, and can accurately recognize and match your customers' learning and buying styles, you'll quickly lose trust and rapport with them if you don't understand how their minds make decisions about the information. What you're about to learn is a practical way to master a basic framework for identifying and adjusting to your customers' learning styles by recognizing their decision process. How do you make decisions? And in this case, 2 personality classifications: analytical and global. Next paragraph, same page, bottom part of page 12, second paragraph. There are literally hundreds of personality tests, but what you're about to discover is one of the oldest and most reliable research models for understanding how a person's mind works when it comes to interacting with information. Dr. Herman Watkin, a psychologist who specialized in cognitive psychology, first developed this method, and while we won't use his formal test and evaluation methods, you will learn what is based on years of empirical research. In a nutshell, only about half of the population was born pre-wired to be independent, logical, and analytical thinkers. The other half is geared toward the other end of the scale, with global minds that are designated to look for the big picture first, to see things in context, and to recognize relationships. So, at this point, Anthony, global is big picture. Analytical is facts and detail. You work in a facts and detail industry, Anthony. You're doing loans. But to sell, you have to get people excited and they buy on emotion. Not all of them, but the global people, when you identify them, they don't want to go into fact. They want to go in, do I like you, Anthony? You get that? They're going to go more into what? The relationships. Same paragraph, bottom part of page 12. Like VAK learning styles, global and analytical traits are puzzle pieces, and we will have you will all have some of each. Most of us will have one piece, here it is, very important, significantly bigger than the other, but some of us will have traits almost evenly split down the middle. Kathleen, I'm big picture. I'm a big picture person. Don't start going facts and detail, armature settings, lightings, how many, don't do that. Will I fall in love with the pictures? That's all well, so everybody got that? I'm a big picture person. I don't necessarily need to know exactly how many events there are for the Chamber of Commerce, Crystal. All I want to know is, am I going to make money if I write you a check every year? Is the Chamber going to help me market is this marketing piece that you're putting together, Patrick, is it going to help me make money? Is it big picture? If you're going to go on font and I'm going to change the size of the logo by 2 pixels, you're going to drive me crazy. I'm not an analyst, but you have some people, Patrick, that are going to look at every pixel, true or false.
Yeah, it's definitely true.
Yeah, and if you're a big picture person, and because you're in sales, a lot of people that are in sales are big picture people. But a lot of the people that are buying from you, especially today with COVID, are very analytical. Think about it. It's 2 years ago when you went on an airplane ride and you saw that one person at the airport with a mask on. Remember, there was always it was usually people from other parts of the world, not Americans. 2 years ago, nobody wore a mask. But did you ever see one person at an airport and go, and it just caught your attention? You're going, wow, what is it? This person's got some, germophobic. This guy, but now everybody wears one. Everybody has a mask on. But at first, we thought of those germophobic people as being highly, highly analytical. I mean, attention to detail off the charts. Those are your what? Analytical people. Imagine how they're all going, see, I told you so. All those people 2 years ago that used to wear masks, they love wearing a mask. Top part of page 13. As you complete the following checklist, you'll need to choose one answer over the other, even though you may want to choose both. Most people come out with a definite preference for either analytical or global, but it's not unusual for a person between the two to have only 1 or 2 point difference. So here we go. You're going to answer. Here we go. You're going to take this chart, top part of page 13. Please fill in the answers. Check off analytical or global. Those 2 charts. Please do that now. Go ahead. We're going to take about 3 minutes. Did you do that one already, Anthony?
No, I'm doing it right now, actually.
Perfect. Do it right now with you can do it right on your computer.
So it needs to be one or the other.
That's well, that said earlier. It says, some of you may have a split. You might be in equal between the 2. And then would you please, on the chat, please put in your numbers, your total analytical preferences and your total global. So you're going to put A and then a number, and then G and then a number. So A for analytical, G for global. And go ahead and put that into the chat, please. Thanks, Patrick. Thanks, Crystal. Hello, Kathleen. I'm total global. I can multitask. If you give, hey, Webb, we would like you to do the alphabet, please. Okay, I'll start at L because it's the easiest. Okay, then I'll do M, N, and then I'll do A, B, and the analytical people are going, no, you can't do that. You have to start at A, then you have to do B, then you have to do, see, their analytical people are very what, Kathleen? Very linear. But you look at the alphabet like I do and go, hey, L's easier. Let's just start with that. We'll knock that one off right away. Now, this whole process that I'm going over right now, the story about Sarah and Barbara, is what? It's chapter 4. Everybody get it? It's chapter 4. Anthony, 3 analytical. So guess what? Most of the people, all of you today, everybody here today is global. What are most salespeople? Global. And who do you have trouble selling to? Analytical people. They drive you crazy. So why, Anthony, did I teach you sequencing? A whole class number 4 on why? Because it works with what mind type? Analytical people. You got that? That's why I teach it. If I'm going to teach a 6-session course over 6 months, I have to teach how to sell the hardest customer. Who is that? The analytical, the doctor, the lawyer, the systems analyst, the CPA, the nurse. Everybody follow me on this? These are the hardest people to sell. They drive you crazy. The people who are global, Crystal, they come in going, hey, I want to have a chamber. How much is it to be? Yeah, I'm in. Let's go. When's your next golf tournament? Crystal, you got that? They're the easiest people to sell, are globals. That's why salespeople are so easy to sell. Because most salespeople are global. You guys enjoying this today? Yes, thumbs up. You guys getting this? Okay, because this is, again, this is the simplest personality program I've ever been able to come up with. And it kind of encompasses the end of 6 months of training by looking at a very simple formula. Of course, there'll be some people pretty evenly split. Are you different at home than you are at work? No, not really. You're the same at both. If you're analytical at home, you're analytical at work. If you're global at home, you're global at work. So it's pretty much the same. But now, Anthony, when you identify somebody that's highly analytical, it's driving you crazy, what do you need to do? You can't skip around in the process of doing a commercial loan. You have to what? Be linear, which means A to B to C. If you skip a process in a commercial loan, you're going to lose that prospect. Does that make sense, Anthony?
Yes, yes, definitely.
Okay, so now you had your first exposure to a personality program. So we're going to take it very simple. Analytical, facts and detail. Global, emotions, big picture. All right, so I'm going to move this over to the side. Thank you for participating on the chat. We'll move that over here. Up there on the board it says analytical, facts, global, emotions. So here we go through this page. I'm on page 13. Underneath the test that you took, it says in the bold area, 1, 2, 3, 4 bullets. As we mentioned, there is no such thing as a pure style. Each of us will have both analytical and global puzzle pieces to some extent. Some of us will almost evenly be divided between the two. All of us can learn to adapt and adjust to the opposite style. But the research clearly supports the fact that we're born with a natural inclinations and strengths. So I'm going to put this up on the board in the PowerPoint. 30, write this down somewhere in your book. 30%, 70%, it's 30% genes and 70% environment. Anthony, up until about 9 years ago, all psychologists agreed that a person's personality was developed 50-50. 50% genes from our lineage, our parents and grandparents, and 50% environment, whether I grew up in a rural area or a metropolitan area or a broken home or a solid foundation of a family structure, would develop the personality trait 50-50. No. They did a new study. It's called Epigenetics. And it's not important that you know all of this. Epigenetics studied the mitochondria on, Kathleen, what gets through the cell wall into the DNA inside our core makeup. And they found that in one generation, you could take a family that has a tendency to a certain body shape or a certain health tendency, and take that family and move them to the equator and have them work labor 5-6 hours a day. And within one generation, the genome will change. It's that fast. And so people can no longer blame their genetic makeup as to who they are. It's only 30%. It's 70% environment. Now, I grew up, if I grew up, Crystal, throwing bales of hay and working on a farm, I probably wouldn't be on this Zoom meeting right now. Okay, it'd be a rural area. But I grew up, my dad died when I was 3. And the very next day in New Jersey, in 1957, I was born. My dad was born in 1900. So it's in 1953, he was 53 years old when I was born. And so he died when I was 3 years old. So I have no memory of my father. The day after my dad died, I have 2 older sisters. My mom had to feed her family. And so she was knocking on doors the day after the funeral, selling World Book encyclopedias, door to door in New Jersey, 1957. Within 6 years, I'm now 9 years old. And my mom is the Eastern Seaboard Regional Manager for Field Enterprises. She has 16 salespeople working for her. She is a regional director of the most profitable region in the United States for World Book encyclopedias. She's a senior executive. I grew up with a flip chart in the living room, my mom doing sales training. I'm a 2nd generation sales trainer. I got a little bit of college, some professional sports. I met a gentleman in 1988 who was an international corporate speaker. And he opened up these training manuals and he showed them to me. And I went, wow, I know all this. I'd been in it my whole life. I had grown up with my mom being a sales trainer. And so that influenced my ability to communicate. I learned it from my mom. Like I said, if I grew up, Kathleen, on a farm somewhere in Ohio, I probably wouldn't be as comfortable as I am being a presenter and a speaker and a sales trainer. Everybody get that? So that's what makes up who I am. It's 30% genes and 70% environment. And so on the third bullet on the middle part of page 13, it says, recognizing how your mind is wired when it comes to taking in and processing information can help you understand how you think, make decisions, and organize what you know. 4th bullet, there's no smartest or best style, but sometimes the situation and circumstances can make one style more valuable than another. And my global style helped me from getting beat up in high school because I was a fast talker. Everybody get it? Otherwise, my mom could not keep pants because every time I'd come home, I'd have holes in my knees from being on the ground at school. And so, but I had to figure out how to talk fast in the environment that I grew up in. Otherwise, I got beat up. And so I got beat up a lot, but I finally learned how, and that was from my mom. Next bullet, it says, it's more important to understand someone's behavior than it is to simply fit him or her into a category. He's global, she's analytical. What's their behavior? We identify our learning style not to find excuses, but to have tools to understand and succeed. Before we look at how this knowledge can help with your customers, let's take a look at what you can learn about yourself. It will give you valuable insight into why you sell the way you do and how you communicate better with those who don't think as you do. It's more important to understand someone's behavior than it is to simply fit them into a category. So on the bottom of page 13, those two lines, recognize and adjust your customer's decision-making process. Here we go. Top part of page 14. If you placed more check marks in the left column, you're probably more analytical decision maker. It makes more sense for you to deal with individual concepts than to try to deal with the big picture. It's not that you don't. So Anthony, we get frustrated sometimes with someone looking for a commercial loan. We're going, hey, I'm the best guy for you. Come on, let's go, move forward. They're going, no, 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 no. I need to have all the I's, all the T's. I need to have, and they drive you crazy. That's okay. Identify, Anthony, they take longer to buy. Don't get frustrated with these people. Let them enjoy their what? Their analytical process. If you push them, you will lose them. Got that? You just have to constantly feed them more facts, and the more facts and detail, the more they'll like you. And then pretty soon they start to go what? Global. But you've got to first feed them first analytical. A lot of the people that are into commercial loans come across it first analytical. And then they go, what? I like you. And you identified this, Anthony. You said the people that you have the most loans with are people that you've had lunch with. True or false? Everybody get that? Or the people that you've interacted with, not just over the phone, but socially. But at first, they came across analytical. So here's a quick overview of some of the differences between analytical and global people. So here are analytical strengths. They focus on details. Global strengths, you're good. Kathleen, you can see the big picture. The big picture is, I'm going to get into a class with the chamber and get my sales skills tuned up a little bit. So that's your that's what you came here for today, Kathleen, correct? Patrick, same thing with you. You came here today because what? You need to have the big picture. I need to sell better. True or false, Patrick?
Correct. That's true.
Yeah. So, but the analytical people are going, no, 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 no. I got to look at this training program. I got to look at this training program. I got to look at this training program. And as a result, it takes them forever to get started. What keeps the analytical person happy and what keeps the global person happy? I'm not going to read all these pages. I'm now going to what? Because I'm global, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to delegate. And I'm going to take this responsibility now and give it to you. But I want you to know what's on these pages. So I'm going to go into a little bit of the analytical side and then what? Finish up today's program, wish you the best, tell you that I'm here to provide service for you. I can help you as whatever you need. You can have a contact now in me so that I can help you grow. And then you have the chamber as a support to give you the videos from the previous classes. And then just because you saw it once, Anthony, does that mean you've got it figured out? No, you may have to what? See it over and over. Same thing, Crystal. Do you need, are you able to learn and apply this on just a one view, or does it take more than one? So you know you've got to go back. You have to watch the videos over again as well, Crystal. And this is, you have an opportunity here. You have what I have distilled down is one of the best training programs to make it simple, easy, effective, and to drive revenues into your company, to make it easier for you to sell. So on these pages, globals and analyticals. Last page, what motivates the analytical customer? Page 15. Analytical customers will be motivated to close the sale with you if they perceive you that you know what you're talking about and you can back it up. Everybody see that? Back it up right there. What is that? Proof source. So by nature, analytical people are what attitude? Anthony? Skeptical. Analytical people doubt you they are what? They mistrust you by nature. And that's why I taught you sequencing. That's why I taught you skepticism. You have to have a proof source. Every single book that I've got up here on this shelf over here, the back of the book, well, they're mostly all business books. They all have what on the back of them? Testimonials. Every single business book that you go look at in a bookstore what's on the back, Kathleen, or the inside cover, or it's what? It's all testimonials. And that's what analytical people need. They need to have a proof source. So, Patrick, if I'm looking at you as a copy service, as a printing service, do you have a standardized 1 or 2 30-second videos that you can send me immediately about your background, what you do, what other people have said, and to prove that you're the best choice for me for my printing and advertising needs? Because if you don't have that, you've got to go get it done immediately. Kathleen, you need to have a proof source for what once the analytical people like you, then they may switch to global. But most people, when they're researching for a vendor, they're going to be looking for what? Facts and details. Make sure you have all your evidence manuals ready, all your proof sources ready. You have to have that as part of your sales process. Just in the plumbing industry alone, every single plumber that I trained, over 1,800 plumbers for the PHCC, plumbing, heating, and cooling contractors, they all have what? Brag books and evidence manuals. This is what this is. You have to have proof sources. And today, what's the proof source that I'm an advocate of, Anthony? Videos. You have to have videos. So I am always creating videos of me as a proof source. So you have to what motivates the global customer. The global customer will be motivated to close the sale with you if you give an overview and general idea of what you're going to say. Everybody get that? That's an overview. We're going to make your wedding the most amazing event ever. This is going to be the best wedding this golf course has ever hosted. Let me go show you what it looks like from the balcony. Kathleen, did you get that? But if you say to the analytical person at 6:14, the lighting between 6:14 and 6:27 p.m. is the best lighting for shooting at this portion of the veranda for this time of year because of where the sun is located. Now, if you do that with a highly analytical dad or a mom of the bride, you're going to have what? They're going to, I really like Kathleen. Let's pick her. She gave me all the facts and detail that I needed to make sure that we have the right sunset. That's what they're going to base things on. Do you need to sell both? Husband and wife? Absolutely. You have a business partner in a chamber of commerce? What happens if you have 2 people come into the chamber of commerce, Crystal, and one of them is the business owner, the other one's the marketing director, and they're going, do you need to sell both? Absolutely. Well, you may have 2 different personality traits. One may be global and one may be analytical. So the analytical person's going to get what? Facts and detail, and the global person's going to get the big picture. Everybody get what's going on here today? So we're wrapping up. This is done. The class is going to be over. We've got this now as in the video. We've got this video now as a resource to go back to. So you can see on page 16 how they want to get information, how they're going to listen to you, all of this information and the summary. So the last page up here on the board, up here, here's your screen. It says summary, the magic of NLP. Here's what you want to have. If I'm going to be helping you in the future, you always want to ask yourself this question. With the customer, number 1, what's their learning style? Got that, Anthony? So are they visual, auditory, kinesthetic? Next one, what's their attitude? Are they skeptical, indifference, objection, or acceptance? And what's their decision-making process? Are they analytical or global? So here it is, up on the board. Visual, auditory, kinesthetic, skeptical, indifference, objection, acceptance, or analytical, global. You know these things about a customer, and you will have a plan. Everybody, thanks for coming to today's class. That's our class number 6 of 6 with a review of the Sales Masters program and a summary of the last class of how to now use a system to sell people your products and services. Thanks, everybody, for attending. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you, Paul.
All right. Thank you, Paul.
Appreciate the information. Looking forward to catching the first 5.
Yeah. Sorry.
Thank you.